Jesus, Lamb of God, you take away the sin of the world. Have mercy on us. Jesus, Lamb of God, you take away the sin of the world. Have mercy on us. Jesus, Lamb of God, you take away the sin of the world. Grant us your peace. Grant us your peace. Grant us your peace.
Greetings, PFC family. Good Friday to you. Welcome to Stations of the Cross 2020. Stations of the Cross is something we've done in our community for over the past decade, actually. We gather 12 artists together to depict this walk of Jesus as he is going to his crucifixion. This year's theme is touch, and touch as in feel, right? Specifically, how is each station, as we walk with Jesus through his story of being crucified, how at each station are you being touched by the story of Jesus? How is it, we've heard in previous years, intersecting with your own life? And specifically in this time when touch, we're being very restricted with what we can touch, who we can touch. I think this is very fitting and appropriate, actually, to be touched by Jesus. So as we go into Stations of the Cross, incorporating this sense of touch, our artists actually gathered together, and we spoke and exchanged ideas, and we wanted to incorporate this extra sensory type experience. So it isn't just a visual experience. We talked about this idea of found objects, and pretty much what that is we would incorporate an object of just our everyday life into our art piece to give it depth, to give it texture, to add more than just a visual piece. And we also discussed heading into a more abstract direction. And I know abstract can be a little daunting and a little mystical, trying to figure out, like, what does this brushstroke mean? What does that, symbol mean? Or, and actually I would encourage you, rather than trying to pick apart every technical line, every technical detail, abstract art is more supposed to invoke a feeling. So as you go through the stations, take your time, look at each piece of work, and what is coming up for you? What emotions are arising? What thoughts are coming to your mind? Again, what are you feeling when you see this art? So I would encourage you, as you go through stations, look at it through that lens. And we will have reflections of each of our artists. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But before you go straight to jump in and look at those reflections, I would encourage you also, read them at the end, or go back and watch it again and then read it through, because the first time, I strongly encourage you, look at it through your own lens first. What's coming up for you? There might be something you catch in someone's art that they didn't intend, and you can share it with them, and that can be something they can learn from you. So I'd encourage you, as you walk these stations, look through it first through your own eyes, through your own lens, and then go and read the reflections. So we will have reflections posted in the description box. There's going to be links that you can click on. That being said, I encourage you, please watch this on a TV or a computer if possible. You can't really get the full experience just from an iPhone. So if you have access to that, do watch it on a computer or a TV screen. And take your time with this. It is a video. You can pause it. You can replay it. You can watch it over and over. You can rewind, fast forward. Engage. Take your time. Walk the stations. We have visual art. We have music. We have some spoken word pieces. You'll hear many different things. Engage. Jump in. And let's walk this together. Thank you.
You showed me I amness. You taught me who I am, who you are, who we were. More than peas in a pod, closer than siblings, joined almost like lovers. You showed me what is real and true, and that I belong in you, that I belong in this universe, right along with the breeze and the Earth's orbit and the cries of newborn babies. All my senses were awakened to what is and what always was and what will be. You showed me how to live in union with it all, the dark and the light, the bitter and the sweet. You taught me to lean into the act of being, and to nuzzle close into true belonging. But somehow over time, I lost touch. I became so consumed with the politics and the drama surrounding us, and there was a subtle distance. I was afraid to give name to it, so I turned from it. And I worked so hard to protect my fragile ego. This disconnect began to feel familiar, yet never comfortable. I no longer felt at home. I began to feel cold. So I built a fire. I used the kindling of memories and self-justification, twigs and dried leaves, to warm me. I burned our image in effigy. Watched the smoke waft up from the weak flames. Others gathered with me around my fire, some to seek warmth as well, and some to mock my attempts. I tried to hide behind the small flames, but even in the dim firelight, someone spotted me and gave name to what I could not, that I am one of yours. Ugh, but that separateness I had been feeling, it now only seemed larger. My fear made the dark of night seem so much more sinister than it ever was. And then I saw you. You also came near my fire to find me. Our eyes met, and I heard myself say aloud, over and again, that I was not one of yours. I swallowed hard. The dark was so frightening, and I felt like a fool to lean into your gaze. My shame consumed me while I laughed aloud like a crowing rooster. A piercing sound that drowned out all my other senses. I lost touch. And shame, so cruel and unrelenting, reminded me that I do not belong.
Dearest Mother and Father, since my last letter to you, I received a promotion to Optio, second in command to our esteemed Primi Ordinus Centurion. I am assisting him in his command of a cohort of 80 men. The previous Optio was poisoned by a Jewish zealot. Good riddance. Our legion was sent to Jerusalem to see to the unrest caused by the famous Rabbi Jesus. By now, even in our small town, I am sure you have heard of his trial and crucifixion. I met him. He was just like the stories say. Meek, kind, wise, and able to heal the sick. Our esteemed Primi Ordinus Centurion's servant was paralyzed and suffered terribly. I watched him plead to Jesus for his servant's healing. And sure enough, this Jesus healed his servant without even setting foot in the house. My cohort escorted Jesus at his trial and crucifixion. My men behaved as they normally did under the previous Optio, beating and torturing the man. They placed a crown of thorns on his head and mocked him, calling him King of the Jews. The men thought this was funny. I did nothing. I thought I might win their favor by allowing them to carry on as they did. Now, I wonder if I should have controlled them. Jesus remained meek and kind, even to the end, even to that thief crucified beside him. Primi Ordinus Centurion told me that Jesus was innocent. I agree. Mother and Father, with this letter I am sending a portion of my pay and a robe. It belonged to Jesus, and I won it by lottery. I want grandfather to have it so he can keep warm. I surveyed the crucifixion site and found a nail used on him. I thought I would keep it. Something to remember him by. I had hoped to visit you, but my cohort will stay here longer. The unrest here continues. Please give my little brother and sister a kiss for me. Yours, Africanus.
tears are filling up their glasses. No expression, no expression. Hide my head, I want to drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Enlarging